Good evening. How's everyone doing on this glorious Monday evening?
Awesome.
Thank you for adding in all of that. Thank you for being our guest. I God, that you bless this time, bless this fellowship, bless this food in Jesus'
Can we have more days like we did today?
Crazy. I honestly haven't looked at the numbers, but I'm being told it was our biggest day ever. So, Natalie, how did it work for you guys in Canada? Were y'all pre-ordering too?
Yes. I had about 25, 20, 28, 29 orders that went through. So yeah, it went really well.
Awesome.
There's a couple of people that couldn't get on because they were doing it from their phones. So I told them, I just went in the chat a while ago and they said change browsers. So I helped a couple of them there, just put some through there. So yeah, it was a really good day.
Cool deal. Let me go live in the Facebook group. Hold on one second. Hey guys, as we always share, as you're jumping on, make sure that your phone is muted or your computer. That would be fantastic.
Pretty sure.
Frankie Peterson's murder.
Ugh, this guy.
All over. We have people sound like they're watching TV shows in the background. I was wondering if that's a show that I accidentally started watching. Sounded like The Outsider. All right, let me make sure this is working over on the live stream. Let me see. Oh my gosh. You unmuters. All right. They mute, they unmute. All right. Where is the tab? There we go. Go live. Mindset. Said that it was going live, but all right. Like always, it seems like it takes me to send out. We got that muted. Let's see. We have some more unmuters. I'm trying to do the whole mute all. Even have, let me see. Mute participants on entry, which means we have people that get on here and unmute their phone somehow, which is amazing. It's just amazingness. So, all right, I just did the mute all again. Good evening, everyone. I've just done 3 or 4 calls right in a row and missed one. Ricky tried to get me on a Zoom with a new person, and felt like I was getting my voice back, and now it's departing a little bit with all the talking I've been doing. Yet I'm really excited for everyone, actually. One, we had a record-setting day. I have it set, let me see, we have it set to have mute, I don't know, any rate. Yeah, you can actually, Molly's saying that everyone can set their own phone for it to mute as you're entering Zooms. That would be like crazy. Like if y'all did that, I mean, I wouldn't be able to call y'all rule breakers anymore, and that would just totally ruin my whole day. So, I mean, it's just amazing having to mute everybody over and over. So, welcome everybody on this Mindset Monday. And what we're going to talk about tonight is a bunch of stuff. One, it's been great connecting with many of the different leaders. Again, I got to spend a lot of time with Tony Garcia, who it's just been fun hanging out with her. The lady is so wise and just like, she just gets it. She knows, one, how we built, what we're built. Oops, that's Sean. And basically, hearing her perspective always. By the way, she did a dynamic getting started call the other day, and that was awesome. So just want to thank you for stepping up and jumping on and handling a call last minute. So we appreciate you so much. And one of the things that we were talking about that was interesting, and we were talking a lot, and actually a lot of us have been talking a lot lately about, because we've been sharing what did we do in the very beginning versus what we do now. And y'all heard me talk about the dating analogy. And many of us, we start dating someone and everything is so wonderful, and they're just so kind, and they're opening the door for you, and they're doing all the other stuff that people do when they start dating. And then after we date for a little while, the honeymoon's over pretty soon after, right? Like if we could just continually date a new person until the fun stuff stops, and then you just go date another person, wouldn't that be glorious? No. Because the reality is you find yourself in the same situation over and over and over again. But what I also want to share with that is, some of us might notice and some of us might ignore this, but we find ourselves in the same situation over and over and over and over again, whether it be relationships, whether it be the way we feel about things, whether it be our business, or whether it be anything. And some of that comes from self-sabotage. Maybe the stories that we tell ourselves, or maybe the stories that we were told, when we were younger. It's funny, I get on a call and then basically my phone just goes crazy. So with that being said, I remember dating the same crazy girl, but they had a different name. And it wasn't until I started to have the awareness that maybe these things that I see, these things that I experience, might have something to do with me. Now some of us, we don't want to admit that, because then we can't be a victim to whatever we deal with in our life. And the reality is, in life, and one of my, I don't know where I heard this or whatever, but I've heard it from the very beginning when I got started in this industry, but I just heard it recently. Or maybe it was like Rob Spare or something. He's like, what's your favorite quotes? And, a lot of people had used this one. I heard it a lot getting started. But if it's meant to be, it's up to me. That if it's meant to be, it's up to me. And this goes when we're talking about the way that we feel about things, the way that we experience things. And when you start to recognize that you are in charge of what you feel, then you can't be a victim anymore. Well, that's good and it's bad. But what I want to share, by the way, it was the Dillmans came over and they spent a week here. They didn't spend every day with me. They couldn't, I probably couldn't handle it, but a little too crazy over here. No, but I did get, a chance. We went to the racetrack. We saw the horses run. And then basically we came to the house, had a crawfish boil. How many of you all saw the Cajun comp plan, where we were talking about the comp plan and breaking it down from a perspective of how to do it customer wise and different things like that? So today I put some of it together, and I promise you it will be done this week. And this is what I plan on doing. And I'm open to some other people jumping on board. We do it on a Zoom, and maybe we even talk back and forth. But we're going to break down the comp plan in multiple different scenarios. One, how do you basically do it through customers, which we already did, somewhat that, right? Then also, how do we basically do it if we were going strive for 5? And what does the money look like if you went strive for 5, whether it be the people came on board for $249 or $499, and they just went out and got 7 customers? Because many people might look and go, 28 customers, how am I going to do that? Well, the beautiful part about this is if you're sharing this and propping it up correctly, what you will experience is it's way easier to do with a group of people than it is by yourself. So what do I mean by that? Well, when you start to share this with other people and you start to develop a team, if they went out and got 7 customers, it's so much easier. If we just focused in on helping people get 7 customers where they get the cab bonus, and then you just find a few people to do that, and then boom, you hit your rank, and then you just keep doubling that. You keep doing that over and over and over again. Guys, that's a building block. It's really not any more complicated than that. But I know that we do have some people that like some details. And in the past, since we were talking about what we used to do, we had comp plan videos that we actually broke it down. So when people ask, hey, what do you do? Step 4, we connect them to something else. We connect them to the comp plan video. So where we weren't spending all of our time breaking all that down. And when people know exactly what they need to do to get somewhere, it's easier for them to get there. See, the thing is, if you don't know where you're going, it's kind of hard to get somewhere. But the beautiful part about it is we knew that if we could just create a model where people are out getting customers, then we knew that they can create an income, and then basically a lot of those customers are going to convert into promoters. So back to the conversation we were having, it was Christine and Tony and myself, and we were talking about all kinds of stuff. But one of the things we were talking about was, guys, we always shared this from a long-term perspective. See, there's a benefit to having instant gratification in products, but there's also a negative to having instant gratification in products. And why is that? See, if most people get results right away, then that's awesome. And it makes people go, oh, I want to buy it and all that stuff. But the thing is what happens is when we share our story and we got results right away, and then somebody tries it and they don't get results right away, then they think it doesn't work for them. And the reality is what we know is that if people are on this for 30 days, they're going to get results. So we started to talk because sometimes we forget things, right? What we always did is we set it up for what it would look like when the results happen. But what we also recognized is that we had a every single day Zoom call where people got to see story after story after story after story after story, where what happened is people would basically they would be on these calls, and let's just use Marcy Kavanaugh for an example. Marcy Kavanaugh has never, ever drank coffee. Never wanted coffee, didn't think about coffee, certainly didn't want to do a business with coffee. And she gets on these crazy Zoom calls and she starts hearing what this crazy unicorn, happy, magical coffee is doing. And she starts going, well, what in the hell? Like, this coffee's doing all this stuff for people? Like, I need to get this in my body no matter how I do it. And I think she put it in a shake, or she did something, but she just got it in her body. And then what she started to recognize after being on the product is that all these little things were happening in her life. And what I recognized is that we created the natural logical conclusion for people that they wanted to be a part of in taking this product. The other thing that they got to see through being on these Zooms all the time was the community. and the feeling that they felt, the feeling of being a part of something, the feeling of, the togetherness and building these relationships with people, because people are lacking love and connection. So talking to the McLeans and talking to, many of the leaders, talking to Shane the other day. Some of y'all might have seen the crazy video I did about doing your business, right? Well, it's funny because in my affirmation, guys, y'all see me doing some whacked out stuff. Like my wife was appalled by the pressurized conversation that I had about the propellants and the repellents. I don't know if y'all saw that one, but that one was just bad, right? But the point is, oh my gosh, that was bad. I can't believe I got away with that one. But the point is guys, in my affirmation, it says that I get paid millions to be me. And I'm just going to be me, and I'm going to say whatever that comes to my head, or, what's real, and just not really worry about what other people think. So in talking about the feeling with all these different leaders, is everything that we marketed in the very beginning was a feeling. So because we don't have the nightly Zoom calls, guys, what has taken the place of that, and what gives people the connection of getting to see the stories where they come up with the natural logical conclusion that they need to try this stuff for 30 days is basically the Facebook groups, where people are seeing all the stories in the groups. And I know that a lot of different teams on this call have different Facebook groups. And guys, whichever one you're a part of, I know we have Team Rise Community, but we have other ones as well. Whichever one you feel comfortable using, use that one, and basically add people. Have them feel like they're a part of something. That's where they get to see the stories where they're going, I don't know about you, but if it's doing this and that and this and that, I need to try this stuff. And people will get on it for 30 days. Because can we agree that not everybody's going to feel it right off the bat? Not everybody's going to feel it within 5 minutes. Now, I felt it within 15 minutes. But when you hear Kevin talk about the product and what it's doing and how it's balancing out our hormones, can we all agree that we all have different body structures? We all have different chemicals that we deal with. And that's why, one person might be better at eating one thing over another. One person might deal with some things. Some people get allergic. All kinds of craziness, right? We're all different. So the reality is that if you're on this product for 30 days, that gives your body time to actually acclimate, balance out, and then have your brain release those chemicals that we all talk about. Some people, boom, right away they feel it. Some people, the longest I've ever heard is like 20-something days. I remember talking to somebody, it was almost 3 weeks, and they're like, I'm not really sure if I feel it. And then it was like the 3rd week, all of a sudden it was like a switch went off. And then it was like life changed. They felt it. Now, what if they just would have got 1 or 2 samples? Oh, well, this didn't work for me. And then they would have never felt or experienced what they actually felt. So guys, we have to make sure that we are building up that expectation for people. And I'm guilty and Tony's the one that really pointed out to me, I'm guilty of it. Because I felt it right away, I'm like, most people feel it within 15 minutes. And then they don't feel it. And then I go back and I think of a friend of mine that I gave her a few days worth. And then she's just like, I just didn't feel it out, blah, blah. And then didn't order because she didn't feel what I felt based on what I was talking about. Versus, guys, the beautiful part about this, and of course we don't want to talk about science, but we do want to let them know, I don't know what it's going to do for you. For you, this is what it did for me. I know some people might take, 2-3 weeks for them to really notice what it's doing for them, but I'm not sure what's going to happen for you. But what I can tell you is that there is a money-back guarantee, and most people that do it for 30 days, they love the stuff and they never want to get off of it. And guys, that's how you want to set the expectation up, because if you're sampling it, and you hear Ian talk about the story, if you've heard Ian share, Ian's a frou-frou coffee drinker, right? Like this dude, he has some crazy multi-$1,000 machine, in his house in a coffee nook that is built just for coffee. Like literally in his house, he has this area that's just a coffee area. That he has this ridiculous fancy schmancy thing that, I mean, yeah, I'd like to have it, but you know, I would never spend thousands of dollars on this coffee bean machine thing that he has, right? God knows if it brews its bean, not brews it, but it might cook the beans. It might, I don't even know what all it does, but it's fancy and it looks expensive, whatever it is, right? With that being said, you go talk to somebody like that about some happy coffee, and if it doesn't taste the way that they're used to, they're not ever going to experience what they experience. But if we share it from a place and create the expectation that if somebody is on this for a while, that this is what it does for them, then they'll figure out how to get it in their body. I mean, there's people that will shoot it. They're like literally put it in this much water, shoot it, boom, and then they get the results of it, right? Some people, I've heard people put it in orange juice and all this kind of stuff. So we were talking about my first business. I'm going to share with you guys, my first business was legal insurance. Imagine going out there and sharing that with your friends, especially being in your early 20s, and you're telling them why they need to pay every month to have a lawyer on retainer. Like, guys, that is so not sexy. You don't get to feel anything from it. You just watch money go out over and over and over. You have crazy thoughts like, I don't know, I've never used an attorney. Why would I, whatever, you know, but, and then imagine telling people, but you need to get your will done. You know, like they're not thinking about a will. Imagine being in your 20s. You're going to your friends and you're telling them they need to get a will and all this stuff. Guys, the reality was it, the only thing that I related to was traffic ticket insurance coverage. In other words, if I got a traffic ticket, I can have an attorney go to court to try to keep it off my record. That's all I resonated with. And I'm sharing that. And guys, I still have that service till now. I hope it doesn't sound like I'm talking bad in any way. But what I'm saying is it wasn't something that people felt or had immediate gratification. I'm sharing that to tell you guys that my first 2 years, I made no money really. Like when I say really, like I'm like really, really made no money. But I stuck and stayed because I was taught for things to change, you need to change. For things to get better, you need to get better. And basically, if you want to basically create more in your life, you have to become more. And these were the things that I was told. And what I loved and what I connected with over here in this business model was that people don't need to get better to be able to share a cup of coffee, that they could do it right away, that they don't need to learn how to sell. They don't need to learn how to close. They don't need to learn how to do all these things. All they need to be able to do is share their story. Again, there's good things about that and there's bad things about that. Well, what do you mean, Chris? Well, I was talking to somebody, it was probably in these same conversations over the week, and I have friends of mine that sell products that literally you're selling like long-term, you're supposed to live longer and it's good for you products. No immediate gratification whatsoever. You don't feel anything right away. I mean, you could, look, I tripled up and took like a month's worth of stuff in a week and didn't notice a freaking thing. And they built huge businesses off of selling science of, you know, take this because it's good for you and all this stuff. But again, you now have to teach people all of this stuff that they have to learn. Guys, we're talking about a cup of coffee. The most complicated thing that you're going to have to do is create an expectation like I just shared. Instead of just sharing it's a cup of coffee, it hits you immediately, sharing the fact that everybody's different and basically don't know what you're going to feel. But what I can tell you is that in 30 days, almost everyone is going to feel something. Like people, I don't know anybody really, if you took this for 30 days, that you won't notice something. So with that, guys, I'm sharing that because our business is so simple. It's crazy. It's so simple. So what is the thing that keeps people from taking the action that it takes? You've seen some people in the comments and they talk about phase 1 activity. I think it might have been the Dillmans that shared that. But this is the reality. Your philosophy, the way that you feel, the way that you think creates your actions. So the way that you think, the way that you feel is going to dictate what you do. Why do you think we talk about the welcome calls on not only what do you want, but how does it feel when you get it? Because we know that if we can get you to connect that feeling of what it's like to get what it is that you say that you want, you connect that feeling to the activity of the 4 steps, which is pretty freaking simple. Drink coffee, be happy, right? Share your story without being a weirdo. Ask the 2 questions. Hey, do you know anybody who drinks coffee? Know anybody who likes to be happy? Have you heard about the happy coffee everyone's been talking about? And then have them go, what is that? You share your story. You basically share a tool, Facebook group, sample, the website, ahappydose.com. Step 4, follow up and connect. How do you do that? What do you say? It's pretty freaking simple. Hey, can you see why I'm so excited? Guys, if you're not excited, you can't ask that question. So this is going to be some nuts and bolts right here, because I normally don't talk a lot about this, but this is, guys, if I'm talking to somebody and I sample them, this is the words I use, and there's a reason why I use them. Question number 1, when I'm following up, I share my story, I share a website, I plug them into something. Hey, did you try the coffee? Did you do this? Did you check out the website? Did you check out the story? Whatever tool I used. And then I go, they say yes. I'm like, can you see why I'm so excited? And I say it with excitement. Because tonality is 38% of communication. 38% of communication is tonality. Words are 7%. And we will have people that will go, oh my gosh, what do I say? How do I say it? And they think that it's what they say, but it's how they say it. Now, the words that I'm going to use, I'm going to give you some triggers on why I do this. Number 1, I'm going to say, can you see why I'm so excited? And I'm going to shake my head, yes, even if I'm on the phone. Because physiology is something people can feel. They can hear and feel your excitement. Tonality is 38% of communication. Physiology is 55% of communication. Our body language. So when we're talking to people, our excitement and our body language is so important on how we feel. So guys, when we say what we're actually selling is a feeling. And it's important for us to feel good. So physiology, 55%, tonality, 38%, words, 7%. Can you see why I'm so excited? Yes. Awesome. So what stuck out to you? What made the most sense? What resonated with you? Whatever, you're going to ask a positive question. Whichever one sounds normal to you or that would resonate with that person. If the person uses big words like resonate, you would say resonate. What resonated with you? If you know you're talking to a detail-oriented person, so we have 4 personality styles. Reds, money-driven, get to the point. Give me the details on how to make money. Reds. Blues, all about fun, adventure. They're not detail-oriented. You start telling them details and they want to die. They literally want to poke their eyes out. Yellows, they want to help people. They want to change the world, right? And then we have greens. They are the factual data people that are going to want to know all the details and all that. So guys, you're going to structure your communication with them based on how they communicate. And we talk about the golden rule. Treat others how you want to be treated. Guys, what that means is don't kick somebody because you don't want to be kicked. But that doesn't mean treat others like the way that your personality is, right? Like if your personality, well, you want people to get to the point, the last thing I want to hear is all the freaking details and all the stuff. I'm like, dude, get to the point. Like, so you have to pay attention to who you're talking to. So with that, I'm going to match and mirror whoever I'm talking to, right? So with, like, Tony's like, I'm yellow as the sun, which means she wants to help people. So what am I going to talk to Tony about? Oh my gosh, what I love about this is how it's helped me and how it's helped my communication with my wife and you know, improve, and it's helped me with my children. And basically, you know, she's like, we could do a whole training on this. But basically the thing is that if some way is all about helping people and you're saying money, 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 well, you're turning them off and they don't want to talk to you because you need to treat other people how they want to be treated. Guys, the golden rule and treat others how you want to be treated is just don't be ugly to people. That's the simple message behind that. Like, don't be ugly to people if you don't want people to be ugly to you. End of story, done. That's the golden rule. But the true golden rule is treat others how they want to be treated. Treat them from their personality style. Treat them the way that they want to be communicated to. So with that, we're going to basically say what resonated with you, what you like most, what stuck out to you, what story did you like best. If you send them to ahappydose.com or even on the Facebook groups. And then what I say, because I always want to build a bridge, people like themselves. And I'll give you a quick scenario. Like, has anybody ever traveled out of state? Shake your head if you're on camera. That means yes. If you've ever traveled out of state and basically you met someone from your area. I know we have people that live in other countries. So I have to say out of state, out of country, out of province or wherever. So with that being said, and you meet somebody from your state, and I'm using state in this example, like you don't even live, you live on the other side of the state. But as soon as you find out they're from the same state, you immediately have rapport. It's like this connection, this bridge, because people like themselves, you have a commonality. You have something in common. And see, guys are really silly because we want to argue, right? Girls are great about this. And a perfect example of that, and that's a whole nother story, was the girls inside versus the guys outside. We have Juan, Dave, and myself outside, and we're just looking at the water boil, talking about God knows what. And the girls are inside, and they created the whole concept behind what they're going to do in the comp plan, all that stuff. And they're talking, and they could tell you all the kids. They could probably tell you the nieces and nephews' names and all of this stuff. And we can barely remember the kids' names, right? That have been with us all night. I mean, guys are stupid, and we'll sit and we'll like, you know, we'll argue Ford's better than Chevy and Dodge and all this other kind of stuff, where women build rapport and build bridges. So guys, that's why women kick our ass in this business, just so you know. So with that, in this business, we want to build rapport. So you want to have some me toos. So when someone says what they like about it, you want to go, me too, as long as you're telling the truth, right? Like if they say, I like the weight loss, me too. Because people like themselves. You're building a bridge. Me too. And then what I'll say is, you know, that's what most people say. Because can we agree most people say they like the weight loss? I like the energy. Me too. So let's go back over this. Hey, can you see why I'm so excited? Yes, awesome. So what stuck out to you? What story did you like the best? Oh, I like the story about whatever. And I'm like, Me too. I love that story. Most people actually do love that story. That's really cool. In fact, most people that get on the product will feel blah, blah, blah. If it's whatever that story is, a lot of people will have that same result. Okay? So guys, me too, build a bridge. And then that's what most people say. Why do I say most people say it? Because it's true that most people say one of a few things. And number two, it makes them feel comfortable because people want to feel like they said the right answer. And it's called social proof. Why do you think I say the happy coffee that everyone's been talking about? Because if everyone's talking about it and you don't know about it, what does it make you want to do? It makes you want to know about it. And then when most people get this result, then they're going to say, you know what? If everybody's getting this result, I want to try this stuff for 30 days. And then they're going to buy it. So now you're going to ask this question. So these are 2 closing questions we're going to have. Question number 1. I'm putting 2 hands up with 2 fingers. That's messed up. That's 4. Can't even add in this place. Y'all are in good shape. All right, here we go. 2 questions. Question number 1. Is there anything else you need to know before you're ready to get started? Or you can say, is there anything else you need to know before you're ready to be happy? Whatever makes you happy, whatever one you connect with more, that's what you're going to say, because we have a rule number 1 is be normal. Rule number 2 is have fun. So, hey, is there anything else you need to know before you're ready to be happy? Well, what's in it? You know what? That's a great question. I have no freaking idea what's in it. But what I can say is that my buddy, Shane, he knows way more about all that stuff than I do. Let me get you on the phone with Shane. You got to hear a story. And I'll say he can answer that better than I can. So now what I'm doing is I'm passing the ball in step 4. So question number 1, hey, is there anything else you need to know? They ask a technical question. Basically, I'm going to say, I don't know about all that. All I do know is I share a story. I put them on the phone with somebody else. Question number 2. Hey, are you looking to be happy and make extra money or just be happy? Alternative closing question. Are you looking to make money and be happy or just be happy? Guys, we normally don't do trainings, but this is what I would call a training to bring your skill set a little bit further. So you have Cole sharing. I tagged them in post on their basically their what do you call it page, their customer page, and then basically when they don't know, she's explaining in the directions right there on how you could do the same thing instead of doing the 3-way call, connecting them in a chat. And guys, what you can also do is voice message in a messenger chat. So how does that work? It's pretty simple. Oh my gosh, Catherine, meet Kim. Kim is amazing. She knows all the facts about the product and all that. I know that you had questions about what's in it and all that. Kim, meet Catherine. Catherine, meet Kim. Kim, I know you can answer this way better than I can. And then you're connecting them and you're putting them in touch with someone else. So guys, this is all simple stuff, right? The only reason why we don't do it is because there's something holding us back. There's some feeling. There's some story we've been telling ourselves. There's something that we basically are lacking in our belief. So guys, I've been like just really myself, self-reflecting with the team. And I know I've jumped around a lot in the last 38 minutes, going telling stories about this and stories about that and all this other kind of stuff. Guys, what we sold from the very beginning was a feeling. What we sold was the way that people were going to feel. What we sold was a place where people could feel validated, where we can build people, where we can help people become the best versions of themselves. And the reality is if you want to create success, you have to take action. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So what I share with you all tonight was some simple things on that you can actually use, because I know some of us tell the story of, well, I need to know this and I need to know that before I can do it. So guys, now you've heard that stuff. But the question is what is your true belief system? What is the belief system that you have about yourself? What is the belief system? And me personally, I'm sitting here questioning, how do I feel about certain things? I bought this freaking crazy course this weekend. I'm excited to go through it. But I read a post that Damien Calais put up talking about what his pastor was talking about, and talking about the stillness, and talking about basically sometimes we have to meditate and connect with ourselves, right? And maybe just breathe and just be. We're so busy, and a lot of times we'll come home from work or whatever, from being busy and running on the go, doing all this other stuff. And then what we'll do is we turn on the TV, and then that occupies our brain. And many times we don't get to know ourselves, and we don't get to know basically how we really feel about things. And guys, over the 20 years of personal development that I've been doing, I'm constantly doing personal development, and I'm always assessing how I feel about things and why do I feel that way about things. And then what it goes down to is belief system. The way I feel about things has to do with what I believe. So I buy this course that is talking about reprogramming the subconscious mind. I've done trainings on how to reprogram the subconscious mind, and affirmations, and saying something until you believe that it's real, because our subconscious mind doesn't know what's real and what's not real. You can call it the editor. It just edits out what its belief system is, right? And the thing is that your brain, your brain is so much more powerful than you give it credit for. You can create anything. There's a book that says life and death through the words of our lips. So what does that mean? When you speak lack and limitation, guess what you get? When you focus on what you don't want. See, what people don't realize is that whatever you want most or whatever you want least, if you focus on that, that's what you create. So if you focus on what you don't want, guess what you create? What you don't want, because that's what you focused on. Who said this? Actually, I think it was Sean McLean. I was on a call earlier, made the comment that whatever you say, like your subconscious mind, like for instance, if a parent says, don't touch that, don't touch that, don't touch that, the subconscious mind doesn't hear don't. Like if you've ever seen your kid and you say, don't do this, don't do it, whatever, the kid goes right to do whatever it is that you said not to do, because all they heard was touch that, do that. It's like it filtered out the other word. And the thing is that, Cole saying my toddler does. The thing is that if you don't want to be broke and you focus on paying your bills, guess what'll happen? You will only pay your bills. You will only squeak by. You will only basically just barely make it. And then us religious people will go, God will provide. And he's going to basically everything, we made it by on the skin of our teeth. And guys, do I believe absolutely that, the Creator will help us and guide us and all that? But basically, faith without works is dead. The bottom line is you can pray about it. You can all that other kind of stuff. You still have to take action. Like when you hear the story of the talents in the Bible, and when he talks about, when they were given the talents, and the one person buries them and the other person, you know the story, right? And one person used it to multiply. And the thing is that you're going to be blessed on what you do with the actions. And I'm sharing this because I'm going to go back to the course I bought, because I had to sit and really assess, what are my thoughts? How do I feel? And basically I was like, I need to really, there are some limiting beliefs that I have. So I bought this meditation freaking thing where you listen to all these sounds and stuff. I'm sitting here, and just, I wasn't doing kumbaya or saying any chants or anything, but I'm just sitting here listening to it. And it's a course, and you go through and you have to bring yourself at peace and then basically reprogram what it is that you want. And I believe that what my buddy was talking about in that post that he made and what his pastor was talking about in stillness is sometimes we have to get to the core of what it is and pay attention to what are our thoughts. And in closing, and I shared all that to get to this part. Guys, your belief system is exactly why you're either taking action or not taking action. Your lack of belief is normally the reason why you don't take action. Or your lack of making it important enough. Because guys, it's really easy to do. It's easy not to do. My wife might have some show in there, maybe a Bachelor or some crap, right? It's easy to go in there and just sit in front of the boob tube and just not have anything happen in the brain, right? But to become better, it takes a little bit of action. It takes the step. And I want to commend all of you all for sitting on here for 45 minutes, listening to all this, because if you're basically, your personal development is not just thinking about it. It's doing something about it. It's what you're putting in your brain. And I'm telling you guys, I know what it's like, because there's some people, when I get off the phone, I'm like, I need to wash my brain. Like after hearing the negativity that comes out in the belief system, it's so apparent. Like where you can see like, all right, well, I'm telling you, when it's like a lot of people say, I want to be successful. And that's great. But I'm going to tell you, when you basically build a big team, you're going to hear a lot of stuff. And you have to learn how to filter out the stuff. You have to learn how to filter out the negativity. You have to learn how to not let that stuff affect you. And how do I do that? I basically pour positive stuff into my brain constantly. Positive stuff into my brain. Positive stuff into my brain. So I'm like listening to this sound stuff. And I just started. I have to go and read some stuff with it. And I'll talk more about it and see how it works or whatever. But it's a money back guarantee, guys. Man, you can just listen to these sounds and your life is going to change. But the thing is that I was crazy enough to think, believe, whatever. I'm going to get this stuff. Who knows if it's going to work or not, if that actually works. But what I can tell you is there's probably some action steps that I'm going to have to take with listening to this stuff. And then it's going to say to do this, like maybe it might be an affirmation. And the thing is that the action that you take is what's going to create it. It's taking action. So I'll ask you this, and we've asked this on many calls. What did you do today to move your business forward? What did you do today to move your business forward? Now, guys, this isn't for you to compare yourself or go, I suck. I didn't do it. Look, I'm going to tell you, it takes more energy to not do it than it does to do it. It takes more energy to not do it than it does to do it. I mean, it's as simple as you going, if you didn't do your 2 exposures today, go message somebody. Like, go text them. I'm not a big, like, especially people getting started, but go call a friend and apologize to them. What do you mean apologize to them? Tell them you're sorry for not calling them sooner. Say, hey, I just want to apologize to you. Well, about what? That I didn't call you about this sooner? Call me about what? Well, have you heard about the happy coffee everyone's been talking about? No, what is that? Oh my gosh, a friend of mine shared this with me and this is what it did for me. Guys, I guarantee every single one of you all can do that tonight. You could either pick up the phone or there's some people going, well, you don't understand. I live in Eastern time zone and it's 9:48 over here and it's too late to call anybody. Send them a freaking Facebook message. If you're friends with them and you know them well, say, oh my gosh, we need to connect. We need to connect tomorrow. What would be a good time to connect? I got to share something with you. Just take some kind of action and go do it. How many of you all made a post about the tea today? I mean, that's simple things, little things that you can do. Now, that doesn't mean spam people, oh, go buy my tea, you know, whatever. But just taking some kind of action. So, guys, we took longer than what I had planned, way longer. I was trying to be done in 30 minutes and went way over. But I just wanted to share with you guys, your mindset, the way you feel about things is everything. Your mindset, your belief system, the story you've been telling yourself every single day, that's your philosophy, guys. That's what you believe. So I'll share this. Take a little bit of time to just reflect and think about the way that you feel. When you say, I'm going to do it, pay attention, listen to yourself. And there's going to be that little voice that's going to go, no, you're not. Or, I am. And you know what? The only time that you have is now. So when you tell yourself and you go, I'm going to do it, freaking do it right then. Right then. Do it right then. Do something right then. And then basically, how will that feel when you just go out and do it? So the thing is when you say, like, just think about how many of you all have said, I'm going to go work out tomorrow. And then you're like, there's that other little story. I'll say, I'm going to close with this. My first personal development seminar that I went to, they had this process they had us do called the, I forgot what it was called, automatic alarm clock or, hold on. Joe, what was the alarm clock process at ISA? Mental alarm clock. I couldn't think of a simple word like mental. So guys, what if a lot of us have to wake up by an alarm clock? And those of you that might have want to go fishing or something you're really excited about, you ever notice that you wake up and basically sometimes you'll wake up over and over and over throughout the night? Well, the reason why that is because you don't trust yourself. That you don't trust yourself you're going to wake up or not. So this is what I'm going to close it with. Guys, I had to do this process. And it was basically where you can basically decide whatever time you want to wake up at, exactly to the T. And that you have the power and you have the control to wake up at that time when you tell yourself that you're going to do it. And in this process, you have to sit yourself on the side of the bed and you have to just sit there and say, close your eyes and visualize yourself setting the alarm clock, even though there's no real alarm clock, you're setting it in your brain and you're setting the alarm clock and you're basically visualizing at that time, the alarm going off, the little thing going, and waking you up, and you're going to jump out of bed, alive and enthusiastic at that time when your mental alarm clock goes off. And it was so funny because I always told myself, I'm not a morning person. I'm not a morning person. Anybody else feel like that? And basically what I did this process, and I remember, and they're like, look, what's going to happen is you're going to have thoughts, and those thoughts are going to go, you're not really going to wake up. Like, so you're telling yourself, I'm going to wake up, there's the alarm going off, blah, blah. And then you have this thought going, you're not really going to wake up. And guys, you have to do this process over and over and over until you have 100% belief that you're going to wake up in the morning. And then the next day, everybody had to talk about it. And there's about 50 people in the room, and some people or whatever. And what you realize is that when he was talking to people and they're talking about it in front of the room and waking up to the mental alarm clock, many people will go, well, you know, it didn't work. And then he would start asking them questions. And when he would ask them questions, what he would get to, and so when you went to bed and you told yourself that you were going to wake up and you were going to get up at that time, did you believe it? Well, not really. Boom, that's it. See, the thing is that it worked perfectly. You didn't believe it was going to work, so it didn't. But when you believe that it's going to work, it does. So to share that, and in closing, guys, pay attention to your thoughts. When you're telling yourself, I'm the leader people are looking for, I'm going to go kick butt in this, I'm going to make this happen, maybe just be still, be quiet, and think. Listen to yourself. Is there another voice in the back of your head going, you're not good enough, you're not going to do it, you're not going to take it, you're whatever it might be? Guys, pay attention and realize that you have the power to turn that around and change whatever situation you are in your life by going out there and sharing a cup of happy, by sharing your story, by taking action. With that being said, I hope you guys got some value tonight. I know we were all over and we covered a lot of topics tonight, and it definitely took way longer than normal, but I appreciate you all. Hope you got value. Everybody have a great night.
Thank you, Chris. That's
night,
a great
everyone.
one.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
Yes.
much.
Good job, Chris.